Albert?
Hey Christian, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good, thank you. It's so great to talk to you again. Last time we talked, I think it was for the Vigilante Diaries, if my memory serves correct. And
Yeah, no, I noticed that. So yeah, I was like, dude, it's been a while.
yeah, it has. I did get to see Take Back earlier this year, and then now I got to see every last one of them, and it was such a good movie. I like what you're doing with your films. One thing I really noticed is that you're juxtaposing the present day action with flashbacks that flesh out the protagonist's backstory, and I think that's something that should be a trademark because you did an excellent job with this film as well.
Thank you, man. I really, really appreciate that. It's interesting you say that because I'm literally, I just wrapped my new movie Section 8 last night, and we have a lot of that planned for this again. So it's interesting you say that.
That's awesome. So, how did this project come about? Where did it all come from?
Well, my producing partner, Mike Hatton, and 101 Films brought it, and it was part of kind of the Take Back posse. So, they brought it to me. It was under a different title, similar premise, but it's definitely a much more of a Rambo First Blood vibe. And I felt that if I was able to bring, my friend Paul Sloan on, and we could bring him on as the star, we could really explore something different here. And my idea was to try to make a little bit more of a Taylor Sheridan, Wind River elevated shoot 'em up that really focused on the drama of failed fatherhood and what that happens. I mean, really, that's what for me. That's what this whole story is about. That's the heart and the backbone of what's going down with every single shot fired.
Yeah, and I gotta say, you and Paul Sloan are like a dream team. It's like Jesse Johnson and Scott Adkins, Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro. You guys work together. There's magic there. Even when he took a supporting role in Take Back, he still made some sort of an impact. And I think it works well between the two of you.
No, yeah, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
So what was it like working with the other cast? I mean, you got Richard Dreyfuss in this movie. What was that like?
Yeah, and look, when Richard signed on, we were like, holy crap, this is going to be great. So, and again, in the original script, it was very different. It was like the Troutman, First Blood character. And, when Dreyfuss and I started kind of going through the script and seeing which way to do it, like, even the flashback sequences in this movie between Paul Sloan and Dreyfuss at the chessboard in the park, that was literally, I was like, hold on, guys, let's run around the corner. I want to improv this whole part. And they did. Like, those things are 100% improv. I'm like, this is what I want you to cover. Let's hit these beats, and let's just see what happens. I need some backstory character between the two of you, because in the original script, they have no scenes together.
That's shocking. I mean, that's great because they really brought that chemistry out together, and to find out that it's ad-libbed was perfect. I mean, I felt like it drove the film even further.
No, totally unscripted. I mean, we were shooting another scene, and I was like, guys, this is great. And I was like, I called him, I was like, Dreyfuss, we got to run around the corner. There's a park right around the corner. I just want you guys, like, you playing chess. Paul comes up, the flashback sequence, and you're just asking for help as a mentor, And he was like, love it, let's go. And they just riffed and came up with this whole backstory of this mentorship. And, again, we just kept trying to push this damaged soldier that just can't keep his life together.
Yeah, and I noticed that with those scenes with Michael Madsen as well. I mean, I'm guessing he was like a brother in arms because that's what it seemed like. And, he's asking Michael for help for his daughter in their flashback. And that worked out really well as well. I mean, Michael Madsen's a legend as well. And what was it like working with him on this?
It was great. I mean, obviously we worked together on Vigilante Diaries, and he was fun, so it was great to reconnect all over again. And it was just an interesting beat because, they brought him in the 11th hour. They're like, what you think Michael what would he do in this story? And then again, that wasn't scripted. I mean, that was a new addition to the story as well. I was like, look, because I kept trying to push the drama of this, I'm like, I didn't want him shooting the gun. I want him to be a mentor. I want him to be like this this AA kind of sober veteran that, you know, Paul takes his daughter to. Again, like you said, brother in arms, that Paul's character, Jake, takes his daughter to try to get sober, to try to get clean, you know? It's just this, like, but he does it in such a, you know, poor way because he just doesn't know better, you know? And I think that's one of these things in the story. It's like, you know, as fathers, we're trying to learn as we go. We can't do this thing perfectly, and we're trying our best. But sometimes we fall short, and in this movie, his shortcomings as a father has dire consequences.
Of course. And then you have Taryn Manning as, you know, this character Maggie, who's like really strong, and it seems like at times she's like more dominant than the actual villain. And I think that helped work it too, because there's that balance between, you know, a strong female character, and then you're supposed to have the crime boss, but, you know, it's like she's, you know, it's the saying is true, behind every great man is a woman, and in this case it's Taryn Manning's character, and she did an impeccable job with her role in this one.
So great, so great. I mean, I definitely wanted to get it, like, between Jake and Jake Weber was incredible. Like, I don't think this movie works the way it works without Jake's performance and the weirdness that I tried to create. I tried to do the whole Cersei Jamie vibe a little bit between these two, as this like odd, crazy, rich, weird brother-sister relationship, you know, that this is like, you know, we hint at a lot of this relationship between them, and we don't know what's going on, but it's just odd, you know, so very Ozarky type vibe, but, you know, I thought they did really great.
Yeah, and I gotta say, as you mentioned, you had an original script, but then you changed a few things in there. I think that does help a lot, because it gives more creative control for the actors, and usually, you know, they don't just stick to just going, okay, you got to do it this way, but, you know, to then let them flush it out themselves. I think that's what really made the film work, because that's what really brought out the chemistry. It's not forced. Everything just seemed natural.
Yeah, I mean, that's the idea. We tried.
Yeah, like, you don't really get that. You know, you get that with some movies nowadays, and then, you know, here it worked perfectly, and the action scenes were great as well. I mean, you got some fisticuffs. You got, I mean, him torturing the police chief, or that one character. I was like, that really shocked me.
It's brutal. It's brutal. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, we try to balance it out. We have some crazy, brutal torture sequences with some gunplay, and then, you know, for me, the most brutal sequence is the end with the daughter. That's brutal, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
So, what were any did you face any difficulties at all on the set, besides, I'm guessing, time and, you know, budget stuff? Is there anything that you really wanted to put into the film but couldn't?
Look, I mean, on these indie movies, it's always time and, you know, money, and it's always time and budget, right? It's like, and that's really what it is. I mean, it's like, you know, I think for what it is and what we had, I think I'm very, very, very proud of this movie. I can't wait for it to come out. I think it definitely has a little bit of signature, like you said, a little bit more signature Sesma brand on it, what we're trying to do. But, you know, I think, again, it's one of those things where if it wasn't COVID, we could have more scope in the backdrop and extras, and we could paint a bigger picture. But I think overall, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think people definitely need to see this one, especially, as I said, you know, them getting the flashbacks to flesh out the protagonist story. I think that's what enhances these type of films. You know, it's not like a run-of-the-mills type thing. It's more, all right, what's this character all about, and then it's told in flashbacks. I think that's the formula that you should just stick with, because that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks.
All right, so you just mentioned you finished a film last night, as a matter of fact. So can you give us a little bit about? Are you able to give us a little bit about what to expect in that one?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a few actors that are in this movie, so I think the announcement drops this week about Section 8. It's like you know, very, you know, it's God, I don't know if I should drop this. I'm like, I don't know if I'm allowed to, but it's a very like indie, Mission Impossible, Expendables type film, but again, very much in the same vein as every last one of them. it's going to be very elevated in the genre, with the family and the tortured hero going forward as he goes on these missions. And again, I'm hearing this drops tomorrow or Wednesday with the cast, and I think you're going to love it. I think you're going to love the cast, and you're going to love the premise, and it's going to be a kind of who's who of these indie action guys in this picture, and it's really, really great. But I think the cool thing above all the big action that we did, which is to date, like this is my biggest picture to date that we just did.
Wow.
We really go back to how we did it with Paul in this one. It's the heart. It's the heart and the family and the drama that really sells it all. So I'm excited for it.
That's awesome. So every last one of them is coming out this Friday, and those who love a good action film but also want to see something more with the protagonist in terms of their backstory, they're going to want to see this. And I can't wait to see this. I can't wait for fans to see this, I should say, because I've already seen it. And I can't wait to see Section 8. And Christian, thank you so much again for taking the time to talk about the film.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, you guys take care and stay safe.
All right.
All right, take care.